Some people don't give out of love. They give to buy access. They give to create debt. And when you stop playing along, the mask drops. I've seen a pattern that a lot of people miss. It starts like generosity, it starts like help, it starts like support, favor, a gift, an opportunity, a lifeline. But later, you find out it was never clean. Because the second you stop cooperating, the gift, it starts asking for something back that was never openly agreed to in the first place. That's not generosity. That's leverage wearing a smile. That's control pretending to be kindness. That's a hidden contract. In one situation, a woman was lent a car she never even asked for. The offer was pushed on her, insisted on, sold like some act of loyalty. Then an accident happened. Insurance got involved. The car was basically done. Suddenly, the tone changed. Now the person who insisted on helping wanted money out of her person. Not because reality supported it, not because the situation was clean, but because control had slipped, and control wanted one more shot at winning. That's the part people need to hear. A lot of fake generosity only stays generous as long as you stay compliant. And when control starts panicking, it gets ugly fast. Threats show up, pressure shows up, fear gets used like a weapon. There were threats about money, threats about court, threats meant to create panic, threats meant to make resistance feel expensive. And when private pressure wasn't enough, the next move came, the social attack. Mutual friends got contacted, stories got spun, the target got painted as selfish, cold, unfair, ungrateful. That's not honesty, that's not courage, that's triangulation. That's what weak people do when they can't control you directly anymore. They recruit an audience, they build a false jury, they try to make your boundary look like a crime. And I know this pattern personally. Different setting, same sickness, conditional gifts. In my own life, I was handed trucks, a company, access to money, and privileged information. On the surface, it looked like opportunity, but underneath it, there was an unspoken demand. Play ball, play along, fit the mold, stay useful, stay owned. The second I saw that for what it was, I returned all of it. The trucks, the company, the access, the illusion. I handed back every conditional gift and asked to be left alone. That should have been enough. But when people think they bought a piece of you, they don't take your freedom well, because your refusal exposes what they were really doing all along. And that's the part that burns them, not your disrespect, not your betrayal, but your freedom. This is where Jung cuts right through the fog. He talked about the persona, the mask, the image, the role people perform so the world sees what they want seen. Helpful, generous, loyal, needed, good. But then there's the shadow, the part underneath the performance, the part full of resentment, control, greed, entitlement, envy, humiliation, revenge. And pressure doesn't create the shadow, pressure reveals it. So when the other person stops obeying, the persona starts cracking. And what spills out is the truth they were hiding from themselves. And that's why some people look loving right up until you say no. They were never loving. They were managing an image. And your boundary, it ruined the performance. Then comes projection. Because if they had to face their own manipulation, their own control, their own emotional blackmail, their own hidden hunger for power, they'd have to face the shadow. Most people would rather accuse than confront themselves. So now you become the villain. Now you're selfish. Now you're cold. Now you're impossible. Now you're the problem. Why? Because if they can dump their darkness on you, they can keep pretending they're still the good one. That's projection. And once projection takes over, truth becomes secondary. Control becomes the real religion. And I saw the same thing in a close relationship too. Not with money, not with business, with emotional control. A close friend started trying to control my life. He would pull tarot cards and use them as confirmation that he was right, that he was aligned, that he knew what was best. But this was never really about the cards. It was about using anything available to push past another person's no. Spiritual language, mystical language, emotional language, victim language. Same pattern, different costume. And when I made it clear that no version of me was interested in any of it, what came out wasn't respect. It was wounded manipulation. It was, you're rejecting me, like my father rejected me. And there it was. The boundary didn't create the wound, the boundary touched it. And instead of taking responsibility for it, he tried to hand it to me. That's what a lot of people do. You say no to the behavior, and then they act like you attacked their soul. That's not intimacy. That's emotional possession. That's not friendship. That's unresolved pain trying to control another human being. And this is where the attachment piece matters. Some people are so ruled by abandonment wounds, rejection wounds, control wounds, and identity wounds that boundaries don't feel like information to them. They feel like annihilation. So they don't regulate, they escalate. They guilt, they chase, they pressure, they smear, they recruit, they collapse into victimhood. They flip roles inside a drama triangle like it's second nature. 1 second, they're the rescuer. Then they become the persecutor. Then they cry victim when the boundary refuses to move. That's not confusion, that's dysfunction. Natural law, it makes this one brutally simple. A gift which chains isn't a gift. A favor with hidden debt isn't a favor. And help used as leverage, it was never help. Natural law is about truth, clean intent, freedom, non-coercion, responsibility. You don't offer something freely and then rewrite the story later because you didn't get the outcome you wanted. You don't buy access to a person with opportunity. You don't loan support and later cash it in like ownership. You don't get to hide control inside generosity. And you don't get to use fear, guilt, group pressure, or spiritual performance to corner someone into submission. That's not love. That's not loyalty. That's not friendship. That's domination, acting offended that it got recognized. So here's the lesson. Watch people when you stop complying. Watch people when you say no. Watch people when you return the gifts and walk away. That's when truth comes out, not when you're useful, not when you're obedient, not when you're easy to control. Truth comes out when you reclaim yourself. Healthy people can hear no without launching a war. Healthy people can feel hurt without trying to destroy your name. Healthy people can give without secretly keeping score. Healthy people don't need to own you to feel connected to you. But unhealthy people, the second you become free, they feel robbed. Because what they loved was never you. It was access. It was influence. It was control. It was the version of you that stayed available to be used. Some people love you. Some people love their grip on you. Learn the difference early, and it can save your life.